In this Blender animation tutorial for beginners, I'll show you how I made a direction sign animation in Blender. I start by modeling a simple direction sign. I scale the default cube down to the size of a signpost. I also move it up along the Z-axis to the 3D cursor so it is at the bottom center of the post. I then right-click on the post and set origin to 3D cursor. This will help me with the animation later. In edit mode, I add some loop cuts that I move, scale, and rotate to add some interest to the post. I then use the knife tool along with bevels and make some imperfections on the post. In object mode, I shift right-click to move the 3D cursor toward the top of the post. I add a second cube that will act as the sign and scale it to size. I then right-click on the post and set origin to 3D cursor. In edit mode, I add some loop cuts and move, scale, and rotate them to add some interest to the sign. In object mode, I add a text object and rotate it around the x-axis 90 degrees. In edit mode, I change the text. Under the Object Data Properties tab, I add some depth under the Geometry panel in the Bevel section. And extrude the geometry. I also choose a font under the Font panel. I'm using Z Cool, which is a Google font. In object mode, I right-click and convert the text to a mesh. I then scale and align the text to the sign. I join the text and sign using Ctrl-J. I then add materials to the objects. I then join both objects together. In the animation workspace, I set up the camera. Under the Output Properties tab, I changed the frames per second to 30 and the end frame to 60. On frame 30, I add a keyframe for scale. On frame 1, I scale the post to 0 and add a keyframe for scale. I copy the keyframes from frame 30 onto frame 28. Scale up the post and add a keyframe for scale. This will give me a small bounce to the animation. On frame 30, I select the post and sign and add a keyframe for rotation. On frame 60, I rotate them around the z-axis 360 degrees and add a keyframe for rotation. I export the animation as GLTF. FBX can also work. I import the animation into Godot and open it in a new scene. When I open the animation player, I see that I now have an animation within the scene. If you have a request for a tutorial, a question, or a comment, feel free to leave a comment below the video. If you're interested in learning more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.